Greetings and welcome to Spiritual Enlightenment. I'm your host, Charles Cochran, and many of you know me as the Celtic Cricket. Well, today I have a good friend of mine on, and we're going to have some fun today talking about tea leaf readings. I'd like to introduce you to my good friend, Sue Rogers, who is Lady Airmid, and you are an accomplished tea leaf reader, a tarot reader, a psychic, and one of my good friends. And I've been wanting you to do this show with me for a long time, and today's the day we're going to do it. We're going to talk about tea leaf readings and the proper way of doing them and what you can benefit from them. So feel free to jump in the conversation and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, been doing tea leaf readings for a few years now. It was kind of one of those things I added to my repertoire, and but it's been going well, and we've had a lot of fun with it.
We've had numerous tea parties.
Yes.
You have a following that likes this. I enjoy it. And it's fun because it brings back memories. My grandparents talked about tea leaf readings. My grandmother would constantly have her tea leaves read. And it's an art that goes back centuries.
Yes.
And it's quite entertaining.
It is.
And there's so many different ways of doing it as well. So the style that you do, is it your own? Did you adapt it from something?
I adapted slightly the kind of standard way of doing it. It hasn't much changed in basic form from the Victorian era, which was kind of the heyday of tea leaf reading.
Oh, absolutely.
When everyone would have their tea parties and
their tea cakes.
And their tea cakes, high tea, low tea, you know, and inevitably there would be a leaf reader in the group, and she would read for all the other ladies and gentlemen, and it kind of lost a little bit of its popularity around 1908 when they invented the tea bag.
Oh.
Because the tea in a tea bag is much finer. It's ground more finely than the loose tea that we use for the readings. So it tends not to clump and make those nice images within the tea cup.
Not so easy to do a tea leaf reading with a tea bag.
Correct.
So throw the Tedley in the trash. It's not going to tell you your future.
That's right.
When people come for tea leaf sitting, what are they expecting, and what kind of information are they looking for, or do you give them, or do they just go in with that open mind, I'm going to do this fun and see what happens?
I think most people are coming for fun that I've found so far. There are very few people who have ever had a tea leaf reading before, so it's usually a new experience for the people coming in. They're not quite sure what to expect, but tea leaf reading is more than many other kinds of divination, more than tarot, more than oracles or whatever. It really is a fortune-telling art. So I try to impress on people that this is what can happen. This is what's in store for you, and it's all in the tea leaves.
Yeah, it's not so much something that you would, I need to know a yes or no question, can I have a tea leaf reading? It's more fortune telling of what's going to be happening and what's the possibilities.
Yes, we can focus. We can bring the images of the leaves form in the cup, focused on a particular question or topic if the person wants them to be. But it's much more random than, say, a tarot, where you can really focus.
Excuse me. And it's fun in a group of people.
It is great fun in a group of people.
Well, today you only have me to deal with.
That's okay.
But I've seen you in action doing the tea parties, and more girls are into it than guys, but you've had several men too.
I've had several men in my groups, yes.
And I usually get a kick out of them. They're always laughing. They seem to enjoy
it tremendously, yes.
Now, I was wondering, when you do the divination part of it, you're looking at images and imprints of the tea leaves?
Yes.
Do the customers necessarily see exactly what you're seeing, or is it up to your interpretation?
I generally give them my interpretation of what this clump of leaves looks like to me, but sometimes I will ask them if they see something different or if they see another image in that same. It's kind of like looking at clouds.
Oh, absolutely.
And seeing what image you see.
When we look at a cloud, you can see a dinosaur, and I might see the golden arches of McDonald's.
Yes.
It's
right.
In the same cloud.
Yes. And the interesting part is it's very interactive, because although I'm using my intuition and my skills to read those images for the person. The other dimension that the person brings to the reading is that their own personal issues or situations have some bearing on what they see in the images. So the two together really provide a very good reading.
Now, with other forms of divination, and you already said this is more fortune telling, do you see negative and bad things as well as good, or?
Occasionally.
And how do you handle that?
I try to present it in a more positive light. So, for example, if I see an image of, somebody falling off a cliff in the cup, rather than saying, oh my goodness, you're going to have a terrible catastrophe, this is awful is going to happen, I'll say, you need to be careful, watch where you're walking, because there's a potential for you to have, a problem. So,
well, that's a nice way of saying it. I would say, I see you laid up in a hospital bed enjoying Jell-O for several weeks. And I'm only kidding. Okay, this is a fun and silly thing to do today, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to have you start it off. Where do we start with your tea party? I'm your customer. Hi, I've never had a tea leaf reading. What are we going to do today?
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to enjoy a delicious cup of tea.
Yummy.
And then we're going to do some fortune telling with the tea leaves.
There we go.
And I always have a nice pot, pretty pot, and some nice china teacups, and the hot water. And I will ask you to do, if I have a large group, I'll have several cups, and I'll ask each person to select the one that kind of resonates with them, that they like the best. So I only brought you one. You can select from those two if you'd like.
I'll have the plain one, that's fine.
And I brought along a very nice tea. It's a very mild, little bit sweet, very nice tea called Longevity, blended by the Silver Willow.
And it's organic.
And it's organic.
So we'll try that.
Yes, we'll try this. So what I want you to do is use your teaspoon and place, maybe we can move the table just a little bit closer. That would be good. Place about a quarter to a half of a teaspoon of loose dry tea into the bottom of your cup.
That good?
That's good. And then I'll do the same. So we'll both have a cup.
It's tea time.
It's tea time. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is, before we actually pour the water into the cups, you should place your napkin under your cup on the saucer, because that will prevent any messes from.
Oh, and I am very messy.
And there's a reason for that, which you'll see in a little bit. Okay, so I will pour some water. And we'll let that steep for just a minute or two. And while I'm doing the tea party with the group, generally I take this time as an opportunity to explain to people a little bit about the history. That, tea was first grown in China, and it was discovered there as a beverage by the Chinese, and we believe that they did actually begin using the leaves that are left in the cup as a form of divination way back centuries ago with the Chinese. And as the propagation of tea plants spread throughout Southeast Asia, from China to Thailand and India and Indonesia and so on, so did the art and the practice of tea leaf reading.
Wonderful.
Okay, and it's gone on for centuries. As I said, and through the Victorian era was its heyday.
Yeah, that's when it gets a lot of recognition. Mm-hmm. But it's alive and well, thanks to you.
It is now. Right now it is, yes. Okay, so we're just going to let that brew a little bit. I didn't put too much water in, so we don't have to.
That's okay.
Let it sit for too long.
We have to revise things for television.
Yeah. The images that are presented by the leaves when they form in the cup later on, there can be hundreds, thousands of different symbols that you can see. Again, like looking at clouds, you can look up and see just about anything. So I can't memorize them. You couldn't memorize them. There are some very common ones that we see, but then there are some very unique and sometimes rather obtuse symbols that we see. So we do tend to use symbol books, symbol glossaries. Awesome. I have one that very specifically is about tea leaf reading, and then another with dream symbols, they are all basically the same interpretation of the symbols.
And I use books like that all the time because, I read crystal balls. And sometimes I'll see an image in there, and I don't have a feeling or an opinion on it, so I'll look it up.
We can't know everything,
No, we can't.
even though it is intuition-based. So it's how we interpret that particular indication by the image that brings our intuition into it.
I imagine some of the questions that people ask when they're getting a tea leaf reading. Is it going to show my love life, my finances, my health?
Those are the basic questions that people want to know about their life.
People want to know about love and money.
Yes, they do, and their family and their health.
Their health, I find in readings, I don't know if you'll agree or not, but I find their health is the third or fourth thing they're concerned about. It's usually money and love first.
Unless they have a very particular health issue going on in their lives. You're right, it does tend to take second or third place.
Well, today I have no opinion on this.
Okay.
You're going to tell me what you see, period.
That's right, we'll just do a general reading.
And hopefully it's good news.
Okay. So, the first thing we're going to do, I think our tea is probably steeped enough for us to begin this, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to, before we even begin, put your hands over your cup and make a wish. Okay. Take a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds and just make a wish.
Well, I'm going to say my first wish out loud.
Okay.
I wish I don't spill this. Good.
And I'm not sure why that's part of the ritual, but
It just is.
It just is.
And sometimes that's good to let things be just as is.
Yes.
We don't need to know everything.
No, we don't. Now, one of the first things we do before we even begin to drink the tea is we look at the surface of the tea in the cup and look for a couple of different things. First thing we look for is whether or not there are any twigs or little stems floating in the cup.
Okay.
So, just take a peek.
I think I have one stem.
I think you have one. And it's a very small one. That's right. I don't know if the cameras are catching this, but it's right there. Is that the one you're pointing to? Right
No,
there?
I was looking at the other one.
The other one, where?
Is that one?
Okay. Oh, that's a longer one. Okay. In general, the standard interpretation of stems or twigs floating on the surface is that you will have a visitor.
Oh, I might have two.
You might have two. And generally, a long stick represents a male, and a short would be a female. So it looks like you're going to have one of each.
Yeah.
A couple coming to see you. I have one that's kind of hanging down into the water here, right there.
Oh, yes.
And then there's another one floating, which is kind of, looks like a male, a little bit longer. And I'm not sure about the one that's kind of dangling in the water. I haven't seen that before. But it may represent, I believe, someone who has recently been visiting and gone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's that. That's generally the first thing you look for. Clumps of leaves can, if there's any particular forming any image on the surface, but I don't see anything, can represent messages that are coming your way. But I just see kind of floating leaves. I don't see anything in particular.
Now, what about the stuff that goes right down to the bottom?
We'll deal with that later.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to drink our tea.
Okay.
And this is really a very good tea. It's very mild and a little sweet. And I always caution...
Oh, it is very good. It better be.
You made it. I always caution people that when they're drinking loose tea, they will get tea leaves in their mouth.
Absolutely.
They will get in their teeth, they'll get on their tongue. And it's permissible to take your napkin and just kind of daintily and politely get rid of it.
Or you can chew it.
Or you can chew it. It won't harm you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not
organic.
toxic. They are edible.
This has a hint of mint in it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's very good. And I'm assuming that the name of it, longevity, reflects its purpose in life.
Oh, yes.
So I want you to drink just about as much as you can and leave maybe about a teaspoon of water in the bottom.
Oh, I'll have to have
cup.
another sip or two.
Yeah. Okay. Very often when I do
Is that too much to leave?
Yeah, you need another drink out of there.
Another sip coming
Yes.
out.
When I've done the tea parties before at the Silver Willow or wherever I've done them, I usually bring some little munchy goodie to snack on while we're having the tea. But I didn't feel we wanted to put crumbs and things all over us today.
This is delicious. I'm more of a coffee drinker, but that is good.
It is a good tea.
How's that?
Good. Now, what we're going to do next to get things moving so we can actually have some images to look at is we are going to swirl the cup counterclockwise, and when you feel you've got it just right, you're going to tip it over and dump it on your napkin. Then we pick it up, and what's left in the cup is what we're going to read.
Oh.
Okay?
You'll be here for an hour. I have
No.
I have a lot of stuff left in my cup.
All right, so let's see what we've got. When we're reading the tea leaves, we position the cup so that the handle is downward, and that represents you, the person being read. Okay? So what we have here in the teacup, I don't know if anybody can see that in
Keep
the
it like
camera.
that. That's good.
Okay. All right, I'll put my glasses on, trusty glasses on so I can see. And in a time frame, reading the tea leaves generally represents about a 3 or 4 month period.
Okay.
And you start at the handle and you go in quarters, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and back to 4 months.
Wow.
As a kind of a fortune-telling cue. Okay? So I'm going to tell you right off that you don't have much going on for the next 2 months. You're pretty blank there for the next couple of months. You do have an image in the bottom of the cup.
And what do you think that could be?
It looks like a fish to me.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Now, fishes often represent wisdom, knowledge. So I would say that by the end of the next 2 months, you're going to in some way have completed a new learning experience, or you're going to get some additional knowledge about some line of study that you're interested in.
Well, that's interesting because I'm working on something right now.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's good.
So within 2 months, I would say you'll be done with that, and you'll have attained that knowledge and be ready to use it.
Cool.
Okay. So then we move on to the 3rd month, and what I see here is a dragon. I love dragons.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can you see the
Yes.
head of the dragon there? Maybe if I point with the spoon, it'll be a little better.
I
Like
see
the
it.
head of the
Yeah.
dragon is here and the tail up here.
And how you're
It's kind
holding
of-
the cup is perfect.
Okay.
The TV's picking it up nice.
Oh, yes. Okay. Very good.
Absolutely.
So you can see that the dragon is there. Dragons are very powerful, and again, they're very wise in folklore and mythology.
Yes, they are.
And dragons are one of my favorite
I know they're one of
creatures.
your totems.
Yes, they are. So to me, having a dragon in your cup, and quite a large one, he's ready to take things over.
Well, I always said if you're going to have a dragon, make it a big one.
So I think this dragon represents you kind of moving forward in your next endeavors with great power, great skill, great wisdom,
Okay.
and being very successful and just kind of moving forward as things progress.
Awesome.
Next to the dragon, let me see.
You tilt it just a
Oh,
little
I'm
more.
sorry.
Perfect, right there.
Okay. There's a sphere, a sphere, and kind of, I think these are like 2 arrows pointing down.
Okay.
It's like a succession of arrows pointing down to the side of the sphere. Can you see that?
Well, I definitely see the 2 different things that you're pointing
Yep.
at and the sphere. I'm just waiting for your interpretation.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what the sphere represents. The downward arrows can mean that you need to really pay attention to what's going on.
Okay.
As the dragon, you're going to tie this all together so that as the dragon, and you're kind of forging ahead and moving with great strength and power with the dragon, you want to make sure you're careful not to overstep the boundaries so that it doesn't create a downfall effect.
I got that loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. So let's look up sphere and see what the sphere represents. How's that?
Excellent. I got a big dragon.
You got a big dragon. I like to use the dream symbol book. It tends to have a lot more interpretations. And most of the time, the two books are pretty similar. Occasionally, there's one that's a little different interpretation.
Right, but like you were saying, the clouds, the dream book is
Yeah.
great to looking up at symbols that you see in a cloud, a
clouds,
crystal
or just
ball.
about anything, yes.
Absolutely. You might
Yes.
be making coffee in the morning, and you see a symbol when you pour the cream in. You might want to look it up.
Yep. Well, we're not talking about spheres in the dream book.
Okay.
So let's see. I believe that this one will. Geometric shapes.
I'm curious.
A circle or a ring represents completion and good luck.
Ooh.
If it's cut by lines, it could mean disappointment, unfinished business, or a delay. If the circle seems like a ring, it could predict a marriage, but that doesn't appear to be a ring. So
Excuse me.
what
And I
I'm
don't
seeing-
appear to be getting married anytime
No.
soon.
So what I'm seeing is that the dragon is moving forward with your business, with what you're pursuing.
Correct.
The sphere could represent completion of that, and generally good luck, as long as you're careful not to overdo it.
Absolutely.
And that moves from your third month into your fourth month. And then dots represent positive prosperity, finance, money coming in. And you've got one dot there
Okay.
and one dot there. Two dots there.
And what does
One there and
two
there.
dots mean?
Twice the money.
Twice the money. But twice.
Twice the opportunity and twice the...
Because if we're only talking a dollar bill, that's only
No,
$2.
No, it generally means prosperity. So as you move forward and you're moving through your business and completing and so on, there will be some financial gain.
Excellent.
Okay? And then we have one more little image down here, which to me appears like a bird.
Oh, yes, I can see it.
And birds generally are messengers, no matter what you're reading. So by the time you get around to close to the end of your fourth month, there's going to be some kind of message for you based on the work that you've been doing with your business and
excellent.
moving forward with your progress.
Now, I'm not trying to interpret this myself.
No, you can.
I just have a question.
Yes.
It appears that the bird is flying from the bottom upward.
Yes.
Is that a good omen?
Absolutely, yes. But it's also facing in the opposite, like backwards.
Okay.
So keep in mind, as you're flying forward, keep in mind what you've done previously. Don't
Make the same mistake twice?
Don't go off without remembering how things are supposed to be.
Excellent. Now, what about the stuff I asked earlier, right, that stays on the bottom or the lowest part of the cup?
The lower part of the cup, that we had the fish,
Oh, yes.
remember?
That's my wisdom.
That's your wisdom.
Or
after
lack of.
your new learning tools or whatever, okay?
Yeah, I did forget that you
Yes.
told me that.
Okay? So that's what your fortune is for the next 3 or 4 months.
Do you want to take a stab at yourself?
I have very little here. That's because I'm retired now and I'm not having much going on.
Drama-free.
Drama-free. So what I have in my cup, let me see. To me, this appears to be like a group of leaves on a stem, like perhaps maple leaves or something with the points.
Okay.
Some kind of leaves from a tree. Trees generally represent steadfastness, strong, strength, durability, and so on, reliability. But the fact when the leaves are off, the leaves have been separated from that strength, so they're more vulnerable. And the symbolism of 3 in anything psychic is always a very positive sign.
Yes, it's always a good omen.
Yes, so 3 leaves, I see that as a grouping of 3 leaves together on a stem. So the possibility that you can be vulnerable, but the strength of the tree with the 3 can come through in that. In my first month, so as I'm getting used to my new lifestyle, being retired,
But it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It teaches me that, you have to be careful. You'll be a little vulnerable at first, but you're getting used to things, and
Yeah, it's
there is strength inherent in it.
Good.
Okay. So then I move around, and things are going to be pretty quiet. I've got a couple of little images in the bottom. One looks like a twig, just a little twig in the bottom there. Let me just make sure. So I could be having a visitor. It looks like a female visitor coming. And then I have a couple of interesting, because the color is different. It's not the normal dark green of the wet leaves. It's more of a brownish color. And, it may or may not have any implication in the reading. But to me, it's so obviously a different color.
Yeah.
That it might take on some significance. I'm just getting the sense that these are pointing backwards to my previous. It's kind of like, don't let go of your memories. Hold on to those. These are things from your life before your retirement,
right?
That you want to retain, that you want to hold on to, and they're a different color because they're memories. They're
I understand that.
Yeah. So to me, that's what that says, in my interpretation of it.
And that's good.
Yes. And then we get over to like the 3rd and 4th month. See that? Okay. And it's basically another leaf here. I think there, probably more leaves like the tree over here, and it's just continuing to be strong. We're like a tree. And
well, I hope to go to your next tea party where there's a group of people.
Yeah, it's lots of fun.
I want to thank you very much today for coming on as a guest and showing us on this brief demonstration on tea leaf readings.
Good.
And
glad you enjoyed it.
Hopefully we'll get some people that are interested in taking a tea leaf session with you.
Yeah.
So, Lady Airmid, thank you very much for being on with us today on Spiritual Enlightenment, and may your teapot flow over.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I
Thanks
enjoyed
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
This is Charles Cochran reminding you to live out your dreams and celebrate your spirit. Thanks for watching.